No, I did the freight yesterday. That's my facial part.
This goes in pressure one goes over here, and this is this path right here.
We need to move more than 10.
This one is
Okay.
I'll have to put the setback on the screen.
No.
I think this area definitely.
Yeah, I
This
guess
one is
it-
less used, I think.
The thing is here, that's, if you like, but on that street, you could store it in the police station. Or, you know, we'll list locations. Right. Not that one. Go like. All right.
So give me the ground truthing, just give me a call.
All right.
Something.
Yeah, no, I was making sure. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to the New Shoreham Town Council regular meeting for Wednesday, November 17th, 2021. First item on the agenda is public comment. Does anybody have any public comment? I see Sandy Kelly has public comment. If you could step to the microphone and let us know what's on your mind, Sandy. That's a little close, isn't it?
May I take this down while we speak? First of all, I want to say, Molly, best retirement to you, and thank you for your many, many years of service. We certainly appreciate your dedication to the community. And I know Millie's not here, Millie McGinnis, but she's been our wonderful clerk since 2004. And we're certainly wish her the best. I know she will do a great job. And we're looking forward to working with Keisha, because we hear great things about her as well. I just briefly I know the budget time is around. I know it's probably one of the toughest times for all of you, but I wish you would consider the senior advisory and what we hope to do for our community when you receive our budget. So that's my request there, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandra. Does anybody else have any public comment for us tonight? Hearing none. Second item on the agenda is a report from Dr. Tom Workup, Block Island Medical Center Director, regarding COVID-19 and public health, and/or discuss and act on an emergency town ordinance to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 to protect the health and safety and welfare of the residents of and visitors to the town, which are imminently imperiled by an unforeseen circumstance. Do we have Dr. Workup on the phone tonight?
No. I'm sorry. I thought we did.
Does any council members have any questions, comments on item 2? Are we trying to get the doctor? You want to move him? You wanna delay it? See if we can get him or,
Just drop it down.
all right.
So each time
Oh,
we speak.
we have to wait for the clerk anyway to come back.
Hey, Andre, I just had a question for Dr. Workup about the update on the booster shot, that's all.
All right, yeah, I think Molly's trying to get him. We'll give him,
I'll be right with us.
okay. I would move on to item 2, but that might take a little while.
It's not. Well, maybe not. Doesn't have to.
Is he with us? Should we go to 3?
So you wanted to set the public hearing?
Yeah. We actually have a public hearing.
Right, but that's gonna take a little while. We'll have to stick on it to set the
All right,
public
so do we need a motion to adjust the agenda? All right, I'll make a motion that we bring item number 4 up to number 2. And make 4 2 and 2 4. Until we can get the doctor on the line. So item number 4 is just to set a public hearing date for the proposed amendments to the Town of New Shoreham General Ordinances, Chapter 2. Administration, Article 4, Public Property, Division 3, Capital Improvements. Oh, right.
I'll second that, Andre.
Thank you. All those in favor of moving item 4 up to 2? Keith,
Yes.
Martha,
Aye.
I'm in favor. Sven, Mark.
Aye.
All right, motion will carry 5-0. So the new item number 2 is to set the public hearing date for the proposed amendments to the Town of New Shoreham General Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 4, Public Property, Division 3, Capital Improvements. Molly, do we have a workable date to set for the public hearing?
We're looking at December 15th.
December 15th? I'll make a motion to set a public hearing date of December 15th, 2021 for the proposed amendments to the Town of New Shoreham General Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 4, Public Property, Division 3, Capital Improvements. All those in favor, Keith?
Yes.
And
Seconded.
do you need a, I'm sorry.
Well, I just, does it matter? I won't be there. Does that matter? Is it timing or I think it's pretty straightforward?
I would say it's a pretty straightforward
Yeah,
ordinance.
so I'm good now.
So I do have one editorial correction I'd like to make to the ordinance before the council finishes their vote, so.
Okay. All right, so I made the motion. I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Sven. Discussion?
Okay, so if you look at section 2-243, item 3. If you look at the sentence, I'll go halfway through when it says, project funds from the new projects to be authorized and deauthorization, it should be deauthorized, it should be ED. So that was just an editorial typo. So I just want the council to be aware of that. So it will be advertised otherwise as presented.
I'm sorry, could you repeat deauthorizes change to?
Deauthorized,
Okay.
deauthorization is changed to deauthorized.
Okay.
I read this 10 times. I was reading to Kathy Marola and I read it deauthorized, not the authorization. And she finally
That
said, did you
happens.
listen to what you were reading?
All right, thank you, Mary Ann. All those in favor of the motion, December 15th, Keith, Martha,
Aye.
and I'm in favor.
Aye.
Sven's in favor, Mark,
Aye.
motion will carry 5-0. Do we have the doctor?
I'm here.
Hi, Tom.
Good evening.
So we have a report from Dr. Tom Workup, Medical Center regarding COVID-19 and public health. What could you offer us this evening?
So, on some really good news, as of yesterday, we have not had a case of COVID positive on any of our tests from the Department of Health since September 26th. Based on our last conversation, I had communication with the state DOH to get a better understanding if any positive tests are done through the PCRs that we have at the fire barn, and they've given me an access to a data bank that really spells it out for us on New Shoreham, which is great. So as of March of 2020, so more than a year ago, we've had 103 total cases, but nothing since September 26th, which is really terrific. And also the data that I presented also to the council in writing about the vaccination percentages are really outstanding for our community. We are in excess of 100% of all age groups other than those 0 to 19 years of age. But obviously those vaccinations have just begun. So I think we can be really proud of the effort of the whole entire community to get vaccinated. They've obviously very much embraced it. And really, it's really been terrific. What's not been so favorable, and it's been really happening more on an exponential basis, is our COVID statewide cases per 100,000. If we go back a bit, in September, we were at 181 per 100,000, and we saw a decline to 177. On the 12th, I reported out at 196, and unfortunately, as of today's data, as the time of this meeting, the Department of Health published we're at 256 as of today. So we've had quite the spike in the last 48 hours. And our transmission rates are 7-day percentages are really escalating as well, almost exclusively because of Delta variants. And still the breakthrough cases after vaccinations remain very low at 1.5%, 1.57% to be accurate, which is still slightly higher than 1.2. But that's to be expected. The higher percentages of patients vaccinated in the state should drive up breakthrough cases proportionately. And fortunately, if you take out the 0 to 18 years of age individuals, our state is nearly 85% fully vaccinated. So that's terrific. So our community is almost exclusively fully vaccinated. The state's doing well on vaccinations. Unfortunately, we're just seeing a bit of a spike due to some Delta variants.
Thank you, Doctor. How's it going up at the school?
First round of vaccinations have gone well. They'll have the second round of vaccinations. We're doing it in the same orderly fashion as the rest of the state's school communities. The school works directly with the state to create vaccination events, and we had our first one on Sunday. Unfortunately, Friday got canceled due to the weather with the boats.
Thank you, Tom. Council, comments, questions?
Hi, Dr. Workup. My question is about the booster and the availability for everybody on the island to get it.
Sure. We do have booster availability on the island, both Pfizer and Moderna. The data suggests that if you've had Moderna, which is what we had, you can get Moderna or the other mRNA, which would be Pfizer. And the similar happens if you had gotten Pfizer off island. Feel free to get Moderna if you wish. They call it heterologous vaccinations, perfectly fine. Overall, and I'll make some data available to the council if you wish, my overall recommendation on boosters is different from initial vaccinations based on that right now the CDC has pretty clear guidelines that those that need additional shots and boostering, but the data is not quite clear as we continue to move through this process on if it's absolutely necessary for those individuals outside of the high-risk groups to get vaccinations. This is an area that I just want us to be thoughtful about. The state has, I think, created a scenario where they've put everybody 18 and over in quote unquote a high-risk group, which would then mean the entire community is in a high-risk group and get COVID boostering. But the data would say that maybe we could pause that for those individuals that are healthy. But for those that are over 65 or immunocompromised, makes good sense. But both boostering opportunities are available each week through the DMAT, and you can reach out through the Rhode Island vaccinate.org site. And if not, let us know if you're having any difficulties.
Good. Anybody else? Any comments from the public on the item? David Lewis?
Dr. Walker, David Lewis here. I just have a question about, help us understand why it is the incidence of infection is so high, presumably mostly all original infection rather than breakthrough. If the state is so highly vaccinated at this point, where are all the infections coming from other than that 100,000 of people that are remaining to be vaccinated the first time?
Hi, David. Thank you for the question. I think that's a terrific question because I was actually having this debate with a couple of colleagues today that I think we're having a slight discrepancy between what the data is telling us and maybe a public health political message. Right now, there's 150,000 individuals eligible to be vaccinated in the state of Rhode Island that are not yet vaccinated. And that if you look at the database, there's only 106 individuals hospitalized with COVID right now. So if ERs are being overburdened or hospitals are being overburdened, that next question would be, is it being burdened by COVID? And the reality is no. They may be burdened by not having staffing, or they have closed certain areas of the hospital and the case mix is different. But if you look at some of the data that I was looking at today between Washington County, Newport County, Providence County, there was no more than 13% of hospital beds being occupied by those with COVID-19. So right now, our state's doing very well with hospitalization rates due to COVID-19. That doesn't mean every state has the fortunateness that we're having right now, because we have a high density of vaccinated people in the state. So, but what I would be interested in knowing, that data is not readily available, of the 106 individuals that are hospitalized, how many of those were not vaccinated? And my suspicion, based on other data sources, is that probably almost every single one of them were not vaccinated. So I agree with you. The message that we're hearing is that hospitals have a lot of patients in them, but it's not necessarily, if you listen with an ear to that particular optic, that you're being told that they're all coronavirus admissions.
Actually, you took it further than I intended. I wasn't even focused on the hospitalizations because they're so remarkably low. I think that would indicate there should be less concern in the state than we are focusing on with the high infection rate. I was really focusing on everybody that's not hospitalized, but that statistic that continues to rise. I mean, the 7-day infection rate was down to 120s a week ago, and now it's well over 250. And that is that statistic continues to make us all be overly cautious, perhaps more cautious than the statistics would drive us to. And that was the focus of my question.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think the narrative that we are certainly coming to grips with is that this is going to be more of an endemic issue like H1N1 over a couple different seasons. That I think that it could be very clear that the boostering or your initial vaccines are not promising that you'll never get coronavirus, but it's coming out with high quality that you're not likely to ever be hospitalized or unfortunately succumb to the injuries of coronavirus. And I think we're still not off of that original narrative that vaccine equals no infection. It really is vaccine equals health and non-hospitalization. So you're going to see the breakthrough cases, which are still extremely small, but you're seeing the cases of those 150,000 non-vaccinated patients testing positive. Obviously, the transmissibility of the Delta variant, which as of the last set of numbers is 2,471 positives. But in early September, there was only 581. So the penetrance of that Delta variant is much higher now in our state. So 150,000 unvaccinated, a more transmissible Delta variant. If you are vaccinated, you're going to hold up extremely well to ever becoming so sick they need to be hospitalized, but it doesn't guarantee that you won't be infected.
Thank you. That was just the kind of information I was looking for. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Us as well too, David. Thank you so much for that. Anybody else have any comments or questions for the doctor?
Just one, I guess, Dr. Workup, really maybe it's more a question to the council and chime in, please. But it seems to me, based on your report and what I've seen here on the island, that the vaccination rate is really high. People have not being diagnosed with COVID here on the island, and things are working really well. But as we have, whether it's holidays coming, we have shopping strolls coming, etc., there's going to be a number of people coming to the island. And what I heard from you is that that Rhode Island seems to still be a little bit of a conundrum given that 250 jump. So it seems that our current practices are probably prudent, even though the island is so positive. But with all these people coming, it seems to be that being more cautious better than less cautious. Is that a fair assessment, Doctor, in your mind?
I do. I think for us, an inflection point would be if we're looking at our community today, our community is doing really well. We don't have a large, zero cases as of September 26th and on, with a high degree of vaccination, which is great. An inflection point for me as a physician would be getting through our public strolls and invitations through the Thanksgiving Day season, and when the children get their second vaccine, as being a time to consider the static population on the islands fairly safe to each other. But until then, I think caution would be wise, given that we're having a pretty extensive spike, a 24% spike really just in 4 days is concerning.
Thank you very much. Nothing like cold weather.
Yes.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Sven. Anybody else? Comments, questions on the topic? Hearing none. Doctor, thank you for coming and, giving us this information every meeting. It's much appreciated.
You're welcome. I'll stay on if there's any tangential questions.
Good. I think we're good, but, okay, moving on. Item number 3 on the agenda is a public hearing. Town of New Shore, General Ordinances, Chapter 9, Marine Activities, Article 3, Harbors. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Seconded by Sven. All those in favor, Mark?
Aye.
Sven?
Aye.
I'm in favor. And Martha?
Aye.
And Keith? Motion carries 5-0. Harbor Management Plan.
So what's before you this evening, let me just give a quick introduction and then we'll get Kate involved if there are any specific questions. As I understand it, this harbor management plan, harbor management ordinance, not plan, it's the ordinance, has been worked on since about 2017 by staff and many others. This ordinance has been approved by the Harbor Commission. Also, it's been approved by CRMC and also approved by Rhode Island DEM. We couldn't bring it to the council for their approval or public hearing until we went through that phase. Once the council approves this and it becomes part of the ordinance, then we move forward with the harbor management plan, and we have to go through similar steps. I can't thank Kate and also the town planner who worked closely with Kate Allison on the dedication and work they put to this. And I'm glad that it's finally before you. If the council or the public has any question, Kate is much more familiar with this plan than I am, and we'll be happy to answer any questions or comments that may come up.
Does council have any questions for the harbor master at this point?
Actually, Kate, Harbor Master, excuse me. Question on, I believe it's on technically page 20. It's what we talked about before, but just for everybody's knowledge, Kate. Where you talk about waterfront mooring permits. And I do remember in 2017 having lengthy discussions around riparian, et cetera, and could this be in front of your house, not in front of your house? And it doesn't quite say it here in the regulations because I think it refers to the harbor management plan. But Kate, can you just tell us on this waterfront mooring permit, parentheses, riparian mooring, that is to be decided, it's decided by you, right? Is the harbor master?
correct, and it has stated, if you want to change some of the wording here, it is to be placed in the closest mooring field, designated mooring field by the property. So an individual could put it right in the middle of the anchorage or out in the wreckage. And that is clearly stated in our management plan.
Thank you very, very much. Other than that, it's fantastic that this document is in front of the council. So thank you, Kate.
Mark?
Kate, is everything in place in this document or this ordinance to give you the authority to guarantee the safety and well-being of our residents and guests? Is there anything missing here that would prevent you from preserving and securing their safety?
No, I don't think so. I think this is my enforcement right here. So I need this passed. So I have my book that I can refer to when I am writing a violation or talking about riparian moorings or mooring permits.
You good? Mark? Anybody on this end?
And we all know if anything unforeseen does come up, an ordinance can be changed.
Yes. Thank you, Martha. Keith?
I just would say, Kate, I know how many hours went into this and how much work went into it. When I reviewed it, I found it very readable, easy to understand, which I think is not true of all of our ordinances. It really is a fine job that you did. I think Kathy Marola deserves a lot of credit for the drafting work that she did on this. And I think to the extent that this brings real coherence and accessibility to this ordinance, that gets a lot of attention. You really did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Does the public have any comments on harbor management plan? Or the ordinances? Go ahead, George.
And maybe there's a few changes that are yet to come. And Kate, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your answer to me earlier, but in the fee that's related to mooring, what's that? Yeah, that's it. I stood up and lost my. Here it is, page 22, the waiting list procedures. It does, in that paragraph or anywhere in there, it doesn't mention that I could find the one-time, the annual fee that we now pay
Right.
to
so
stay
that
on the
needs to
waiting
be
list.
added.
Okay,
So there's a one-time fee to get on the list and then an annual fee to stay on the list.
Does that go in the ordinance or in the harbor management?
Or the list of,
It's in the fee schedule.
fee
Yeah,
schedule.
I'd say fee schedule.
The fee schedule has more flexibility.
gotcha. So it doesn't have to be in here. It's okay.
Because otherwise, if it changes or something, then you got to change the whole ordinance.
Yeah, well, I figured there was something like that. Yeah. Okay, and the other comment is on, and it may already be handled by now. I don't think it's handled physically, but, okay, it's page 30, paragraph C. The off-season storage of docks. The historic practice of off-season storage of docks on Rat Island by commercial marinas will be allowed on an interim basis, but that practice will be prohibited after May 2021. Well, there are some docks out there now, maybe they're not commercial docks.
It hasn't been
Been approved, right, so it's just a timing issue. That's what I was wondering. All right, thank you.
Thank you, George. Go ahead.
I wanted to comment on that one because I think I lost at least some skin on that discussion during maybe 2019. And it's so nice that May 2021 has passed. And once this passes, then that will actually be enforceable. So thank goodness.
Thank you, Sven.
I
Anyone?
never knew how it happened in the first place.
I do know.
I know exactly.
I know
in the first
exactly.
place.
I worked at that marina then.
The old boys club.
Does anybody else have any comments pertinent to the ordinances? Go ahead, Kate.
There's just a few typos, and I don't know if that's clerical, that I can work with Molly on, or if I need to point them out.
It'd be best if you could point them out so we could change them tonight.
15, Under section B, it says 90 town rental moorings. We have the possibility of having 100, so I would like 90 changed to 100. Twice.
But, can I ask a question on that? Because it's the 90 plus 10, right? Is that the 100?
We have the ability to have 100, but we have 90 right now.
Right.
Plus 7 private moorings, not private, emergency moorings.
Yep.
So that's 97. I could potentially put in 3 more town moorings.
Well, that was actually where I was going to go. So should it be 103? Because it says permits.
No, we're designated in
100.
our management plan to have 100.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why did it get changed? It was 100.
It never changed. It's always been.
No, I mean,
No.
the proposal was changed. Was there a reason for that, or that just didn't happen? The way these, sometimes it just happens.
I was there. It was
Oh, you
because,
did it.
no, I did not do it. It was because there were 90 moorings plus 10 permits that hadn't been issued, if I'm phrasing that right. But that was there was confusion years ago. And I think the way Kate has clarified it is right. But it was the 90 plus 10 was the confusing part.
We've always had a permit to have 100 town moorings. It was just a matter of space. So there's always been the 90. But I don't want to lose that permit.
Is that a typo or does somebody need a motion from us?
All right, let's hold on. Page 18.
I just have to do more.
Page 18, section D, number 1. Does the harbor master may designate as many inspectors as he feels are necessary? I like that changed.
Yes.
To she.
Or
Well,
he, she, they, them, they, them.
as is determined necessary.
And then the last one that I have. Was under page 38. Number 3. The Harbors Committee has voted and approved to change the commercial fishing instead of 50 days to 40. And that would be the same on page 37, I'm sorry, I missed the first one, for charter. Under 6B, again, 40 days instead of 50.
Good catches.
And that's based on fishing quotas and regulations.
We need a motion for those 3 changes.
Is that all you have? All right. Do we need a motion on all the changes?
I would make a motion on it.
All right. I will make a motion to accept the changes recommended by the harbor master to the document before us. Hold on, let me get the title. Let me get the I got it. To the general ordinance, chapter 9, marine activities, article 3, harbors. For a second.
But you even want to read them?
I'd read. You want to read them out loud?
Just the page and what was changed.
Did you write them down?
Me?
You got them?
You can do it. Either way, I'm Molly Parker has it.
Of change on page 20, a clarification of regulating board operations. A change on page 22. The annual fee for the underlying list will be added to the town fee schedule. A change, that's actually a clarification. A change on page 30. On section not changed. That's not a change on page 15, changing 90 to 100 warrants, a change on page 18, changing 90 to 100 warrants, a change on page 37, changing 50 days to 40 days of fishing, and a change on page 38, changing 50 days to 40 days of fishing.
And, sorry.
18.
Inspected as unnecessary.
As is determined, or as is determined. So we take out the he or she. I think. We just for future. Second.
Yeah, okay. I could go through that, but motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor? Mark?
Aye.
Sven?
Aye.
I'm in favor, Martha? And Keith?
I didn't realize we made a change in the riparian warden, but
It was a clarification, but
Yeah.
but not a change to the ordinance. I'll be clear about that.
All right. Any other questions or comments on the other?
I got one last comment. I'll take the opportunity anytime I can to thank Kate and the whole Harbors Department for a job well done. Everyone I speak to who spends their time in that pond is highly appreciative of the job they do, and so are we.
Thank you, Mark. You good?
We need to vote on.
Yeah, I just thought you had a comment. All right. All those in favor? Keith?
Yes.
Mark?
Aye.
And I'm in favor, Martha and Sven?
Aye.
I know. All right, so I'll make a motion that those are.
Girls rule.
I will make a motion to accept the changes and accept the changes to Town of New Sham General Ordinances, Chapter 9, Marine Activities, Article 3, Harbors.
Second.
Seconded by Sven. All those in favor, Keith?
Yes.
Martha?
Aye.
I'm in favor. Sven?
Aye.
And Mark?
Aye.
Motion will carry 5-0. It's been a long road. Thank you all.
That's a slog and a half.
Item number 5, thank you,
Gonna
Kate.
close the public hearing?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor, Keith? And Martha?
Yes,
Close the public hearing.
we should. Yeah.
Okay, I'm in favor, Sven
Aye.
and Mark.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Item number 4, item 5. Report of the town manager, broadband, undersea cable, administration, finance, recreation, land use, building facilities, police, Department of Public Works. Mary Ann?
Yes. So we have a quite lengthy report this evening, so I'm going to try to tear down a little bit. The report is in your packet. But the town has hired Kim Duggan as the new recreation assistant. Kim will start on December 1st. Please join me, everyone, and welcome Kim to one of the critical roles of serving many of our islanders. With winter rapidly approaching, the irrigation system at Hyde Fields has been winterized. Fields are plugged and irrigated. Paul O'Brien restrooms are currently open, but as you can imagine, in the coming weeks, it also will be closed. And congratulations to our third, fourth, and fifth grade soccer team who participated in the Narragansett Soccer League. Not only did they have an undefeated season, but they also won the year-end season tournament. And Dave Sniffen informed us today that not one goal was scored against the team during the tournament. So heartfelt thanks to our recreation director, who not only served as the coach, but also chauffeured the children via the team van. The first in our kitchen episode that says Zach, it should be Zach, the senior advisory committee was a great success at the library. The December programs include some holiday events. The library successfully hosted a Zoom performance of the scene from The Tempest. Rachel Pickup enjoyed performing for our island audience and received rave reviews from the Islanders. The Department of Public Works has received a quote for their new F-50 dump truck. The amount is $71,136. The quote was received from Tasker Automotive Group from the Master Price Agreement number 559. If the town did not commit to purchasing this truck last week, we were told that the next opportunity to purchase the truck will be in July. So we moved forward with purchasing the vehicle. The current vehicle we have that we use is a 2005 vehicle. It is 16 years old and it has numerous problems. The unfortunate news in this, as we all have heard recently with the supply chain, this vehicle will take up to 30 weeks for delivery. So we'll have it in time for our summer busy season. With that said, Matt is working with RIDOT to see if they can get a loaner. RIDOT has provided the town with the loaner in recent years. However, the vehicle they provide us with could not handle the current dirt roads that we have on the island, but we'll continue to work with them. And members of the highway department continue with mowing and trimming and getting ready for the winter season. The police department officers are currently working their winter schedule, 12-hour shifts, 7 days on and 7 days off. The chief is exploring officer-worn body cams. You've seen a lot of news in that regard. He's applying for a grant and we'll see what happens. It appears that we may be available for up to $25,000 through the state. An interesting program that was initiated by the police department is Lend a Vest Safety Program. For this, with the hunting season fully in swing and with the help of the Mary D Fund, the department was able to purchase orange vest and materials, included storage stations for the vest. The school woodworking class helped with the installation and the building of the storage stations. Staff worked with Barbara McMullen and Kim Gafford to identify 10 of the most popular hiking trails to install the storage and the vest. High school sophomore Blaze Hatfield has expressed an interest in being involved. So he will be visiting the storage sites and to be sure that they are stocked and at the end of the year help with the takedown. It's an example of what a tremendous collaborative effort by many. Staff has been working on a grant application of RIDOT Office of Public Safety, Highway Safety for funding of a speed trailer, speed sign, and media campaign. The department also participated in the Coats for Vets program at Gillette Stadium. It's a program where Rhode Island, Massachusetts, police departments could pick up kit buckets, packages containing warm winter coats and supplies. The department is working with Charlie Weber, Sergeant of Arms for the Legion Post, to identify veterans on the island that could benefit from these supplies. Land use, the Overlook Realty application preliminary decision was made. The decision was made on November 10th. Final recording will probably take place later this month, early December. Under town administration, all departments have submitted, it should be their capital budgets, not their operating budgets. In December, Tom Rism, Amy Land, and I will meet with all department heads to discuss their budget. We did receive one bid from A-Transit Corporation for Andy's Way. The bid requirement requires that the project be completed by April 15, 2022. Bain has assured me that they will meet that deadline. I've been working with Heidi Tarbox on 2 Rhode Island DEM grants that I'll bring before the council in the first meeting of December. One grant application is for Gracie Cove, the other is for the restroom at Mansion Beach. I need the council's support and approval of the grants and the prioritization. This is a similar grant application round that we did, where we received the grant for Andy's Way. Last spring, the town began the certification within the Rhode Island Municipal Resilience Programs. We have completed that program, or the phase of part of that program. We are now available for funding. A core team of the land use helped organize the program, and with the workshop took place, the community workshop took place on September 16th. 2 of the councilmen participated in that particular workshop. I provided the council and those the link in my report to see the summary of findings. I would like to schedule a workshop and/or with the town planner and/or the planning board in an upcoming council meeting, because I think we have a lot of things we're working on that is planning driven. I've also spoke with Allison with Sea Level Rise Committee and asked if she'll be willing to serve as the staff liaison to that committee, and she has agreed to do that. So I think with the Municipal Resiliency Program, the Sea Level Rise Committee, and the other committee, which a couple of weeks ago, the council referred as the infrastructure. I had it listed in my file of information as development pressures. That's also something that Amy Ellison has been working on. So I think all 3 of those different committees and initiatives with the town all tied together. Finally, the good news, since we're at a stage with COVID where we can do this, I have held 2 staff department head meetings in the past month. They proved to be very successful and very helpful for staff. One other thing that isn't in my report, because I didn't finalize the call until recently, I did reach out to the director or the interim director of Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, a gentleman by the name of Terrence Gray. Spoke to him specifically about the bluffs, Mohegan Bluffs, and the stairwells in that area that really need some improvement. And he was open to that. And he asked that we forward him some pictures, which we had already taken. So I will be working with the state as possibly getting some improvement to that particular area that's needed. The other thing I would like to point out to the council that is attached to my report, 2 particular items, is the broadband project for November 2021. There has been a slight shift as it relates to the installation and testing of what, no, it's the conduit drops. We expected it to be a little earlier. Now that has moved into the first quarter of 2022. Also, a gentleman from Mission Broadband and staff will be available at the meeting on December 6th to discuss more about broadband with the council. Also, as a reminder to the council, a few meetings ago, we were asked by a resident to provide the council with information as it relates to National Grid funding that we received over the years. That is included, attached to my report, as it relates to the funding and the funds we spent with the funds we received, and when that all took place and when the approval took place. And I think that's it I have for tonight.
Questions from the council? Comments?
A couple of questions. One, I'm going back to broadband for a minute, and you may not have the answer, but one of the big areas of concern, I think, was Verizon and the contracts and the timing with the polls. And I see it says, for everybody in the audience, says some additional licenses have been issued by Verizon, about half remain. Is that still a problem? I'm very nervous about Verizon.
We're chipping away at it.
Anything.
We're chipping away at it, and we've had a couple more in recent weeks, and we'll keep plugging away at it.
Okay. And then, secondly, sorry, in your in the agenda, it also highlights undersea cable. Did you want to give just on the agenda? It says one of the items you were going to report on was undersea cable, and I didn't know if there was any news whether National Grid was going to be.
I emailed the council about that at the last meeting, this afternoon, and it looks like the splicing will take place sometime after Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving. I was just more for.
Yeah. I don't have a specific date.
Yeah, thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Sen. That's good, Pete. Mark?
It's just on the back of your report, Mary Ann, you talk about two grants. The restroom grant for Mansion Beach is self-explanatory. What is the grant application for Gracie's Cove?
It's similar to what we're doing currently at Andy's Way. We did apply for this grant with the last round. We got it for Andy's Way, and we did not get it for Gracie's Cove. So we're going to retry again. Gracie Cove runs us about $100,000. So we'll see.
Good, Mark?
I have a couple.
Go ahead, Keith.
One is, what's the status of wiring up this room and then the streaming of the non-town council meetings?
So I received 2 bids so far. They weren't apples to apples, so I have made some changes. So they are now apples to apples. I'm hoping in December I have a bid award for the council.
Great, terrific.
I might expect some delay with the supply change on some of the stuff we'll need with that one. That's what I've been told, so.
Yes.
Well, that's everybody's excuse on it. I'm really getting tired of it. I don't believe it. I think it's all manufactured, it's partly manufactured.
Trying to drive up inflation.
Yeah, the ships are just sitting out there.
Exactly.
I just wanted to put in a reminder at a meeting, I don't know, 2 or 3 meetings ago. I had asked for at some point very soon an agenda item where we talk about sort of the vision on DPW facilities, zoning enforcement, et cetera, and the appointment we're making tonight recalled that, and all the public works, that stuff that's going on. But I think it would be helpful for us and for the island to get that. And then finally, on the finance stuff, is there anything in the numbers that you gave us that's jumping out at you as a potential problem area or issue area where we're
Nothing's
spending
jumping
more
out
than we
and
thought or
nothing's
anything like
jumping
that?
out, and Amy, if there was something jumping out,
Yeah.
would have mentioned something to you.
Uh-huh.
And also to respond to your vision with DPW, I was waiting till we got the appointment this evening.
Great.
And we finally, I think,
I figured.
had that area
Sure.
in control.
You know, and one other thing, this meeting on December 6th of the broadband committee, I actually went to the last broadband meeting, and I'd urge you guys to go. It's going to be a worthwhile meeting because I think it's the beginning of a conversation on kind of what the governance is going to look like. What, you know, that we have a lot of, you know, we get so focused on the construction activity. This is a project that's going to be with us, like sewers, like water, like all of the other infrastructure stuff that we have. And, you know, we need to try to get it right from the get-go. And there are a lot of different ways to go about that. And I'm really pleased that the committee is going to be looking at that. I just also would add, and I think it's worth bringing up whenever we talk schedule, that it isn't just supply chain. The permitting challenges on this project were and are really significant, and I think it's important for the community to recognize that. Rhode Island is a state that had never done blanket permitting either at CRMC or DEM. So Amy and others have been working very closely with DEM and CRMC, and I believe this project will probably be the first one in Rhode Island to receive blanket permitting, you know, a general permitting, and that's an extraordinary accomplishment. You know, it's really impressive. But I think often when you explain to people the complexity of that, some of the dates that we're talking about are more understandable. So I just wanted to say that it's not it's really good work that's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Marion, can you give us any insight as to, what was federally just passed with the Build Back Better plan
I'm sorry.
with broadband? Do you think we'll be receiving any federal funds for broadband?
At this point, I have reached out recently to Jack Reed's office. We had a USD application. I know Senator Reed has been plugging for that. We got another broadband money that has come down the line. I don't have an answer for that specifically at this point.
Okay. I'm sure you'll let us know if we are eligible for any of that money that was pretty much earmarked for broadband for rural communities, so. Yeah, 100 million for broadband. We only need 8.5. That's all we need. 8.5 would be 9. Let's go with 9.
I'll take 4. I'll take 4.
I mean, also, I'm glad the chief's here. The question I have is I sent you an email the other day from a mother, but I get this every single year. When we paint stripes and crosswalks on the roads, can we get a crosswalk over by Baby Beach while they're painting lines this time around? It's an extremely traveled, walked, crossed road where families take kids to the beaches. There's no crosswalks over there. They're painting lines now. Can we get that? I mean, I don't think the council would disagree with the need for that there. Not in front of Sylvia, at Baby Beach where that is, because there's a lot of people that do cross there with kids, young kids. I'm just wondering,
Isn't one there?
there's no crosswalk there, no. And parents do ask every year. It's just, I kicked an email over to you the other day.
So let me take that back. We discussed that briefly at the staff meeting. Unfortunately, the chief could not make the staff meeting, so I'll get back to you on that at the next meeting.
Yeah, but the line painters are here now.
They're going. They're going.
And when are they not coming back? All right,
Yeah, they'll come back in the spring.
in the springtime. Okay. All right. It is a spot that could use one, could use a crosswalk.
I got one more to add there, just to keep in the back of your mind. It's been brought to my attention by parents of students who use the Faulkner property to park. If we could get just a line from Faulkner to the school grounds would be nice also.
Thanks, Mark. You just brought back memories. My son used to park in that lot. And in order to get out of that lot, they have to jump a stone wall. So a crosswalk would be nice after they jump a stone wall. Yeah, they do. There's a path through the stone wall.
That's how you drive a car in.
Go ahead.
Okay. There's one other question. I know there was just for everybody's knowledge, there was a discussion about the RFQ for communication companies, a nice word for it, or lobbyists, whatever. Can you just give us an update as to where that stands?
Sure,
and
so.
Next steps?
Yeah, that RFQ was advertised in the Projo a week ago today. We did receive a list of a number of folks to send the RFQ to from Councilman Stover, so we did proceed with sending that out once it got in the newspaper. Shirlene and I looked at the deadlines as to when to return the RFQ, and we thought it would be best to wait until after Thanksgiving break, so they're due, I think it's December 1st. So once we get the RFQs back, we'll see what happens from there. So hopefully we'll get some interest.
And some learnings.
I'm sorry.
And some learnings.
Yeah.
As to, I mean, Andre's comment about the dollars would be, I mean, that's sort of a hot button right now. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think we need to spend those dollars on a lobbyist. I think that's our job, but we can have that discussion when we get there.
There's some federal money, it's a different ballgame too.
Yeah, we're not gonna get dollars for lobbyists. Anybody else have any comments? David?
I'm sorry, but I didn't hear Mary Ann's answer to Sven with regard to Verizon. I just didn't hear it.
We're still working with Verizon to continue with them. We have 50%, the report says we have 50% of them.
What does that actually mean? It was always my understanding that Verizon had to move, make sure they had the right current standard of spacing between the electrical lines and communication lines. But where's the licensing? Why are they holding us up on licenses?
I don't think they're holding us up. They haven't, we've applied for them and they have to go through the process. One of the things that did happen, we have to pay for the license fees, or the license we have to pay. We submitted checks. Unfortunately, they want individual checks. Don't ask me why. And some of the checks were misplaced. So we went through the process to start reissuing them, and then they found the misplaced checks. So anyway, like I said, Mission Broadband will be here at this meeting on the 6th. Staff will be here at the meeting on the 6th. Staff could not make the meeting this evening, who works a little more intimately with this broadband project than I do, and will be able to answer all these questions, but that's the last
I'm
one.
almost sorry I asked.
David, I try to hesitate, and
The good news is, we don't need a permit from them. The bad news is, they're being their usual selves.
I mean, the good news, I mean, as Keith said, the DEM blanket permit went through and we got that approval. And I have to admit, when we were talking about what we were doing there, I'm like, this was going to get really rocky. And with DEM doing it, we're now working with CRMC and we're looking to reach out to them. The application has been put in. And now that we have one governmental agency that does it, it'll be helpful with the other one. So there's some really good news.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Any more comments on the topic from the public?
What are we on? What are we actually on?
6.
No, we're on
No,
5.
it's only 5.
You all good? Manager's report?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to say, this has nothing to do with the manager's report, nothing to do with us. But a truck hit a pole on the Mansion Road Monday night. My lights didn't even blink. The new pole, the pole was a relatively new one. It did snap and they had to replace the pole. They replaced the pole Monday night, shifted the wires over. My lights didn't even flicker. And there's no place to say something like that. I just wanted to say it.
Thank you, Martha. Any other comments? Tell
And I'm
me.
not in a separate grid, if somebody asked me.
I heard about that and I didn't want to call and ask them, thinking maybe you might have hit the pole, so.
Somebody else did call.
I'm glad it wasn't you and I'm glad everybody's safe. Any more comments on the town manager's report? Hearing none. Item number 6 is the update from the town manager. Manager's apartment at the Coast Guard Station.
So the manager's apartment at the Coast Guard Station currently has been occupied and rented by a long-term town employee who has since retired, Mark Tilson. I did put out an advertisement for applicants. His lease expires on December 31st, 2021. There is a 1-year automatic renewal with, if we do not notify Mr. Tilson within 60 days prior. We did advertise, we received 4 applicants, 2 of them were current town employees. The interviewing team consisted of myself, Chief Monahan, and Charlene participated in the interview. We interviewed all 4 applicants. As we've gone through this process and looking at this and also working with the interviewing team, we thought it was important to continue the policy and practice that what we've done in the past, that town-owned facilities that are available to rent should be available to current town employees. We have that currently with the Thomas property and both the property I'm in and also the property that we allow for the police officers. Granted, there's an agreement there and the hierarchy is set up. Also, the current Coast Guard property that we have during the summer months, we have the recreation folks living there, and we also have harbor master folks living there. At the beach, at the pavilion, we have apartments on the sides there. Also, that is for town staff. So when we went through this, we looked at it and we said we should have that also in place. That was for town staff if we get an applicant that met the requirements. I'm happy to report, we do have a town staff that has expressed interest and also I think will fit the what we need there and move forward with that property and be the same kind of individual that Mark Tilson was as he stayed there for the 33 years. The gentleman name is Phil Trudell. He has been working at the Harbor office for the last 3 summers with Kate in the Harbor Department, and he currently resides at the Coast Guard Station. He lives in the current dorm room with the rest of the staff. He has a broad range of experience in facility maintenance and property management, pretty much his whole life. His knowledge stems from working with his father, who owns rental property. Also, he was served in the United States Coast Guard, and while in the United States Coast Guard, he worked as a laborer. And then once he left the Coast Guard, he did also continue, while he was what is called a non-rate in the Coast Guard, he led the operations of the Facility Engineering Department. Duties include carpentry, electrical, mechanical, and supply procurement. In the 3 summers that he's been at the harbor at the Coast Guard, he's taken on a leadership role with the other staff that's currently living there and ensure the safety and the cleanliness of the area. He also currently is working on his captain's license with the harbor. And I think he would be a great addition to the Coast Guard facility. And what I intend to do, and I talked to Mark Tilson about this, I said your lease has an option of that I need to notify you 60 days prior to December 21st that we were not going to extend it. There is a 1-year extending. I will extend it for the 1 year. We hope to get Phil here probably early spring, and when it gets a little warm, because there is no heat in the dormitory room up there. Have him live there and start doing some of the work to get that facility ready for the summer tenants. And at the same time, work with Mark as he begins to open up the Coast Guard property for next summer. And that gives Mark Tilson another 14 months in that facility. Our concern was that we didn't want to give him a short notice. He does have another 14 months to find a living quarters. Like I said, he was there for 33 years. I did speak to Mark Tilson about the fact that we were going to go out and advertise sometime late spring, early summer. So it's been something that's been in the works. As soon as I arrived here to the town, I did receive a few requests from folks saying, why is someone who's no longer employed with the town living in the Coast Guard facility? I advised everyone at that point, we had a lease arrangement and I was going to honor that lease arrangement, which we have done. So I think I will probably, once we get the contract, the lease in place, I will bring to the council for approval of the lease. But I am at this point recommending that we move forward with Philip Trudell as the new manager of the Coast Guard facility. And that'll be as of January 1st, 2023. Mark will move out and he'll move into the apartment Mark is currently in. This spring, he'll start, like I said, late winter, early spring. Once it gets a little warmer, he'll start moving into the dormitory and help get that facility ready. It does need some work. The current DPW director and the facilities director have already been out to that site and have identified work that needs to be completed.
Thank you, Marion. Just a couple clarifications. This individual will be here living there year round?
Yes.
Year round. And what comes with that rental? Basically, does the garage space in the motor pool come with that as part of that rental? Because I know it's getting used now. And I'm just wondering if that is going to revert back to the town, because the town does need that space. What goes with that apartment rental?
It goes, what currently goes with it will stay. The motor pool that is upstairs is being used by state police officers.
No. I mean, like the garage where the current occupant is using for vehicles right now.
I'm sorry?
The garage where the current occupant is using for vehicles right now.
That's all part of the rental agreement. That comes back. That's part of the town rental.
So what I'm saying is, Will the new rental get garage space for his vehicle with this?
Yes,
Really?
yes. It's half a garage, it's not the full garage.
Yeah, I know.
And the garage space is where a lot of the equipment is stored too.
Sorry?
A lot of the space in the garage is where the equipment is stored.
I know, the town has a lot of equipment that could be used, that the town could use. So so basically, I guess it's a yes or no answer, that garage where the vehicles are now will still go with the apartment for vehicle. For
Correct, and a
whatever
lot of
they-
the equipment that's in that garage is the equipment that is used to maintain that facility. That the person who leases will use.
Right. So, but I'm asking for personal vehicles. So they getting garage space? Is he getting garage space for his personal vehicle there? Really? Okay,
That's what the current tenant gets.
thank you.
Current vehicle,
What's that?
current vehicle,
Single.
singular is more.
Right. Council, have any other questions?
So the rent will remain the same and the job description remains the same, correct?
The current rent is $250 and that dates back to about 1999. The new rent will be $500.
Monthly?
Correct.
Mhm.
Yes.
I think the only thing we have to discuss and probably make a decision on tonight is whether this decision in the future goes under the town council or the town manager. I think this belongs under the town manager's umbrella as opposed to the town council.
I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We're not acting on this.
Well,
It's
the
currently-
last agreement was signed by a representative of the town council. That's why I want to make sure in the
Yeah.
future it's the town manager's oversight.
It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's the town manager's. She maintains the buildings along with the DPW, so.
Well, the question would be, why did a representative of the town council sign the agreement last time?
I wasn't on that council. I can't
Yeah.
answer that.
So
I
I
just
I
wanted to
may be able to
clarify
shed
that.
some light on that because it's a lease agreement. Even my lease agreement that I have with the town right now, it was signed by the first warden at the time. I think it's because it's the lease agreement.
Yeah, but you're different because we're your boss.
That came to the council. The last time, didn't it? What was the date of the last?
The lease may come to the council.
My bet is the chief elected official has the obligation under the state statute to execute agreements like that. I don't know.
I have no problem executing the agreement.
Yeah, I just had a couple of questions. I don't know if you're. First is, was the trigger for this change Mark's retirement and no longer being a town employee?
The trigger for me advertising was that the lease had expired and the current individual, the lease that was dated was expired in this year. And the current individual is no longer an employee.
No longer, that was the trigger,
Yeah.
that he was no
And the
longer a
lease
town employee.
expired.
Gotcha. Then the other thing that this calls to mind is sort of what's the vision for that place? You know, it's an extraordinary asset. I don't have any particular preconceived notion whether that's, you know, remains sort of a rental quasi dormitory for summer employees, or it gets renovated and turned into, you know, small scale apartment, you know, like, I don't know what that is, but it seems to me that we need to spend some time thinking about and talking about that. And I think it's intimately related with whether and who we have living there, you know, and whether it continues to be a good solution to have essentially a live-in superintendent. You know, I don't know whether that's the, but that's sort of what I think of when I think of what Mark does over there. It's sort of like living in New York in a building where you have a live-in superintendent. He does more than that, but you know, I just, it just occurs to me, I don't know whether it's underutilized. I don't know whether I have a total open mind on it, but I think it is ultimately a major policy decision that we have to make as a council.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay.
So just as quick background, just, I think many people in the audience may know this. There was a few years ago, an RFP document, request for proposals on that land. Mystic Seaport, URI, Roger Williams, a number of people, Allison Ring and Ed Roberge sort of led that effort. And for all of the intentions, it just didn't work right. Whether it was too small or too, you know, just all these little things that sort of discussed it. And I'm with Keith. I would love in January to have a big agenda work session or whenever the time is right. And if it is for housing, let's talk about that. If it's for, I mean, I remember one of the big discussions was a wedding venue for those who remember. I mean, whatever it is, let's really have a strategic discussion about it versus it just ending up there. And it could be for harbors. I mean, like it is now, or part of it is now.
Yeah, well,
So
there's a little confusion. Are you talking, Keith? Are you talking about the whole thing, or are you talking about the station house?
I was actually talking about the station house, but I think you could broaden it to everything. You know, I mean,
Yeah, we might be
probably
really
you know.
good to focus on the station house.
Great.
Because we've had it for 20, Dick was alive, 20, Mrs. The reports would probably reach the ceiling from before we had it. And something always gets fluey, or else we need housing for harbors and police. But I think also and I have not been involved in any of these previous conversations except peripherally, but I do think one of the things that does happen with us, we tend to look at, oh, let's do big picture. And you might just as well shoot yourself right then and there. You're not going to get anything done.
So I think there's big picture and small picture here. It's worth taking a walk through that place, because even if we're going to keep it as what it is, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I mean, it's really something. So, you know, even if it's small picture, we need to, take out lead paint, asbestos, and see, you know, all that kind of stuff, and sort of make it more habitable. If that's the decision, I'm square with that. If the idea is to, make a bunch of studio or efficiency apartments, as I say, I don't have any preconceived big idea or small idea. I guess I do have a preconceived small idea, and that is, if you walk through it, we got stuff to do there.
And if I can just add, and I think when we have that work session, having Amy give a little bit of update on the finances, the amount of money that on average we spend annually, it's not small on that property, and it is where it is. So I agree with Martha. Let's focus on one thing and get that right, and start to build out. Because, yep.
Any more comments?
Andre, could I say something?
Kathy Marola.
Yes, I just want to remind everybody, when you're thinking about what you want to do with the Coast Guard station, that you're limited by the reversionary deed from the federal government, July 15th, 1999, which sets certain limits on construction and what can be done at that property. So I think that when you're thinking about what you want to do, make sure you take that into consideration so you don't have to go back and rethink it all over again.
But that also has a clause, I think that has a provision in it that if we came up with something amenable, it could be changed. I know there's a clause in it.
Yes.
Yes. So I've always been of the position that to start working with the Army Corps, or I'm sorry, the Coast Guard from the beginning on that, so that they're partners and they understand what we're doing.
That's my point is we don't know what the it is yet.
That's right, exactly. And so all I'm saying is when you think about what it is going to be, you might want to be familiar, and I can send the council the deed with the restrictions.
They can't have it unless they bring the eagle back.
But I think Martha's point, Kathy, is we should also figure out what is we want to do and start to bring the Coast Guard into that discussion versus feel limited by the current document. Because the current document is, I think the Coast Guard is very willing to do almost anything as long as there's some caveats. And so I don't want to make our box so small that we can't move.
Yeah, I've always believed that bringing them in at the very beginning makes a lot of sense, so that they're partners with the town and how it's developed.
As long as they come on the eagle.
Kathy, can you share that document with Mary Ann to send, Molly to send to the council so we have it for just file?
I will do that right now.
Okay, just send it to Molly and she can share it with us. That'd be great.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Any more comments on the manager's apartment at the Coast Guard station? Public, council, public? Hearing none. Discuss and act on appointment of the zoning official. Mary Ann, I'll let you take that. We have a memo, Mary Ann
Yes,
sent.
so as I told the council some time ago that we advertised for the zoning official on a number of occasions and did not receive the applicants. And I'm pleased to report this evening that Jen Brady, that I am seeking the advice and consent of the council of her appointment as the zoning official for the town of North Shore. She will take on that role and continue in her current position as land use administrator. I think Jen has been with the town since 1995 and has served as land use officer, a land use administrator since July of 2000. If there's anyone here in town hall that knows the zoning ordinance off the top of their head, it is definitely Jen. And so I think she would complement being the zoning officer as with her land use administrative position.
Council, any questions?
I think it's fantastic, having served on zoning with Jen. I agree with you, Mary Ann. There's no one with deeper expertise. I also think that it's a position that cries out to be filled by someone who lives here. So.
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah, any questions or concerns I have are certainly not about Jen's capabilities or qualifications. It's just that this is an issue that's very, very important to me and has been for years because of the notices of violations that are perennially out there that are not addressed and they're not remedied. And it seems to be a position where you got to be the bad guy. Somebody's got to be the bad guy. And I have no problem being that personally. But are you feeling comfortable? You're dealing with your own people here on notices of violations and the such. Does that give you any discomfort?
No, I'm comfortable with it.
Mhm. And if that's the case, considering the high number of notices of violations that we've let slide for so many years, do you think additional staff is going to be needed?
I think Mary Ann and I have had a couple conversations about that this upcoming budget cycle, so we'll continue to talk about that. So probably.
Do you think additional staff might be needed?
So to echo what Jen just said is that we do, and Jen and I've had some preliminary discussions about that. And we said, let's give it the 6 months because the budget cycle is coming up. Let's see what happens. I don't just want to go out and hire staff at this point until we have a handle of what's going on. So. And we've done some automation in some of the building inspection department and stuff like that. So we may be able to get by with what we have. We may not. Let us spend some time working on it and go from there.
My concern is I'm probably not going to be at this seat in another year's time. And I want to make sure that blatant and perennial notices of violations are taken care of this year. And can I be assured that we're going to aggressively pursue them this year? And not let them just continue on and on and on as they've been in years past?
For any of these two folks to answer. Jen is being hired to do a job, and Mary Ann's confident she's going to do the job. This is why she's being brought to us, and you're asking her if she can do the job on your timeline. I'm not sure that's, I mean, Mary Ann, you can answer that, but I don't think you need to.
Well, how about, is it a priority to fix this perennial problem?
The short answer is yes.
Thanks, Mary Ann.
Short answer is yes. And I'm confident that Jen will take the zoning official position seriously and when necessary, issue the notice of violations.
Andre, I just think your tone is discounting this problem. It's been something that's been here forever. For example, anyone out there who doesn't understand this, the businesses know that they can violate and still get through the summer. They play the game every single year. And it's that I want to stop to be put on. And that's why I'm giving this the time it is.
Go ahead, Sven.
So I'm very, very excited that this position is being filled. A little bit to Mary Ann's comments, I think it's a big challenge. And I actually think I hope that I'll say notices of violation are sort of an end or not a last resort, but at the end, and that dialogue and discussion and bringing people in and really trying to solve the problem before it becomes a notice of violation is the first step. I clearly, we all know that certain ones will go to a notice and there'll be some tough days. But I look forward to that process of, okay, we're gonna have the conversation, what is that timeline and how do you do it? And how do you follow through? Because I think that's always been the issue is follow through. And so, working with the chief and everybody else, I think that will be important. So I agree. Thank you.
I'm right there to work with you. I want to fix this.
Thank you, Mark.
And this would make this really clear. This is not a zoning official who is exclusively dealing with the business zone. I think that's gonna be, I mean, we always, it just kind of makes me bonkers. We act as if nothing goes wrong outside of this little area of where folk that we can obsess on too easily. And there's a lot of island out there. Yeah, well, I've already done my water rant once today. I won't do it again.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, you did.
Oh.
You've heard it before.
Congratulations.
Questions from the public? Council's good. I will make a motion to provide consent. Is that how we do this? To the town manager? The appointment? Yeah, all right. I'll make a motion that we agree and consent to the appointment of Jennifer Brady to the zoning officer position as presented by the town manager in the November 16th, 2021 memo.
Second, with the question of is it officer or official? Does that matter? I think it's official. I know what it's written different ways.
Change that word to official, Molly?
Second.
It is official.
It is official.
Second. Looking things up.
Seconded by Sven. Discussion. All those in favor, Keith?
Yes.
Martha?
So old, I remember when Jen came to work. Come a long way, a very long way.
Is that a yes?
That's a yes, that's definitely a yes.
I'm in favor. Sven?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Motion will carry 5-0. Congratulations, Jen.
On your way out, we have a list for you.
Item 7, discuss and act on a management plan with the Overlook property. Hold on a minute. Management plan. Mary Ann, I guess?
So what's before you this evening is to discuss and act on the management plan. That's in your packet. It still says draft. As the council, as a reminder, the council, you delegated this negotiation to Councilor Sven and myself to work with the land trust folks on the finalizing the management plan, and we did meet and did finalize that. We met with Barbara McMullen and also Wendy Crawford. I'm asking the council to approve this management plan, subject to the final approval subject to the draft and an approval of the easement, which is the last thing we need to do.
Comments from the council? Changes?
I got two things. In the management of property on page 2, letter C on public use. As I read this, to me, it means that we have immediate use of that property right now, even before anything happens as far as development. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Should.
Yes.
That's good. That's good to know and see in writing. And the second thing is on the 3rd page under letter F, facilities management and maintenance. The second sentence says, provided, however, that such approval shall not be arbitrarily withheld. Kathy, can you explain that to me, or Barbara, can you explain that to me?
Do you want me to explain that to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Even if you have to dumb it down. I'm fine with that.
So this was a little bit of a interesting point that Barbara and I were kind of a little bit on opposite sides of the fence. And so what happens is the management plan is written by the town and must be approved by the land trust. And I said, Barbara, if I come forward with the plan, I just don't want the land trust to withhold the approval of that plan. And that's what that basically said. Such approval will not be arbitrarily withheld. And while Barbara and I were going back and forth on this, it's amazing. We came to this language, and Barbara, I said, this is what I want. Bob said, it's fine. So it's fine.
And just to put it, Mark, to her, as that wording was developed, it was really about, Mary Ann didn't want something held because of a paint color or because of this kind of bush or this kind of thing. And so that's that arbitrary part, is you're not going to hold it up because you don't like the size of the cleats or something. You're going to hold it up for big discussion that obviously everybody would have been embraced it. So that's that arbitrary word, is it's not about little stuff.
All right, thanks for explanation on that. And the last thing is in G, following F there, on rare species. Does that also include archaeological discoveries?
Archaeological discoveries is talked about, I think, in the front page
Toward the
somewhere.
beginning.
In the beginning somewhere. Where is it?
Oh, I see.
It's under B, it talks about it.
Historic info.
Yes, ecological significance.
Around the top of page 2.
2 at the top, C.
Item C.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just help me out here, Mary Ann. Because we had this discussion, I don't know, last meeting we had about it. We were gonna come up with the management plan. And I thought we were gonna be discussing the management plan. And I called last week and the management plan had already been discussed and it being presented to the town council. So I'm just wondering, like, who did you meet with the land trusts? Like, who met on this with this?
The 4 people met with this. It was
Yeah.
myself and Sven, including Barbara and Wendy Crawford.
Okay, so in the past, when we had discussed this, it was myself and Sven that met with Barbara and Wendy on this. You remember, we met at the mill, yeah. So I'm just wondering, we have a process. I'm like, I'm just wondering how we got Sven to meet with this. And I mean, like I said, I was part of this discussion before. Usually council appoints representatives to do these. Sven, did you volunteer to meet with this, or was any other town council offered to meet to discuss this management plan, or?
It was, if I remember correctly, I think we discussed this with council. Correct me if I'm wrong, and we discussed the negotiating team, which was the 4 that I just mentioned. And then once we agreed on the negotiation piece, it was my understanding the same 4 will come back and go with the management plan.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering, can you refresh my memory, that negotiating team, when was that discussed?
A couple of meetings ago, when Mary Ann and I and Wendy and Barbara, and then it flipped to Keith Lang, because Wendy couldn't be there for a bit. That was sort of the negotiating team. Then after we had the vote and discussed it, when we talked about the management plan, I believe it was at that meeting
That's right.
that we then said, okay, we'll work on the management plan, that same group do it.
So we're no
I
way,
believe there was consensus. at the council.
did we take a vote on that?
I don't think we voted.
Oh, I see. So the question is, yet we have $3.6 million of taxpayer money that we have to go to the land trust and ask everything that we need to do. Is that the way I read this correctly? Like, we want to build a facilities management, we need the blessing from the land trust. I'm not saying it's a problem, I'm just asking if that's the case.
It does say a plan for the management and maintenance of facilities for this facility shall be written by the town. Is that what you're talking about, number F? I mean, letter F?
Where are you?
Yeah,
I mean, the facilities is all,
I'm trying to get to what Andre's question is. What section are you talking about?
I'm looking at facilities management and maintenance.
So a plan for the management and maintenance of the facility shall be written by the town, subject to the approval of the land trust, provided such approval shall not be arbitrarily withheld.
Okay, how about E under facilities, the last line of that? All facilities plans shall be consistent with this instrument, shall be mutually agreed upon between the town and the land trust. So clarify something for me. If the town wants to build something there, it can't without mutually agreed with the land trust.
One of the,
I'm asking Mary Ann.
Yep, it says, all the facilities plan shall be consistent with this instrument and shall be mutually agreed upon between the town and the land trust. That's
Okay.
what it states.
I had a question.
Go ahead, Martha.
What happened to the conservancies? Why are they not represented?
I don't think they were in the original one. Let me pull up the original.
Are they putting money in?
Oh, there you are.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, as my understanding, they're putting money in.
Because they are represented in Hodge. It's the only one that has as many players with the town that I know of.
You waiting for an answer? You good? Oh, Barbara, go ahead.
Can I, would you like me to speak to that at least briefly?
Sure, go ahead.
So in Hodge, there are 4 fee owners in that property. It's the town, the Nature Conservancy, the Land Trust, and the Block Island Conservancy. Each have fee ownership. In this instance, with the Overlook property, the town has fee ownership and just the town has fee ownership. And the land trust, just the land trust has easement over the property. So we are, in this instance, the principal partner with the town in this purchase. The Nature Conservancy and the BIC are hopefully going to contribute funds to this. However, the land trust has committed to covering the full share of the Conservancy contribution if they're unable to successfully fundraise. So that's why it only refers to the town and the land trust.
Okay, thank you. The other thing I have to say, as everyone knows, I was not in favor of this purchase to begin with. The town plans to construct a multi-purpose structures on the developable area to include harbors, housing, welcome facilities, decks, docks, ramps, wharfage, bathrooms, showers, recreational amenities such as small watercraft storage. And then the additional pedestrian accesses and all. The fact that the town plans to do this, this came up at the financial town meeting. And as I recall, Andre made a reference to the amount of money that people were in fact being asked to support, which was in excess of the amount that was on the warrant that night. And I think everybody who eviscerated him for saying that owes him an apology. It's exactly where we are.
Thank you, Martha, but you're gonna get that.
I felt like it was important to say it because
Well, I
I feel
appreciate
that's been
that,
the
but
case from the get-go with this. We were dealing with COVID. Well, apparently the land trust was doing its thing, and it came to us months later. And we were told, oh yes, this has been cooperative from the day one. This has been a partnership from day one.
Mary Ann, the development portion B, the development portion of the property shall consist of approximately 1.75 acres of land in a location with the dimensions appropriate to the construction and the use of the facilities developable area. The precise boundaries and dimensions of the developable area shall be mutually agreed upon between the town and the land trust when complete engineering studies, appropriate administrative review, architectural plans, system studies have been made by the town and may not be contiguous. It is the expectation of the town and the land trust, given the nature of these facilities, that the developable area will be located immediately adjacent to and extending southerly of the Great Salt Pond. So is approximately 1.7 acres. Would it be safe to assume that we don't know how much land we're getting for $3.6 million?
I don't know if I would say.
I mean, shouldn't this be done?
No,
Shouldn't
we
this be
don't
done
say.
before?
It's the 1.75 acres. It's approximately 1.75
Right.
acres. I don't see it going to 1.5 or
Exactly.
up to 1. It's going to be around the 1.75. The reason why approximately is in there, we talked about how we'll be able to use it, considering wetlands and things like that. That's why it talks about, we need to get the boundaries set. We need to know where the wetlands are, because if there's wetlands there, we don't want that to be part of our 1.75 because we won't be able to develop that part of the parcel. So that's all part of the discussion and the negotiations we had with the land trust, so that the town will have enough property available to them to do the construction and the facilities that we want to have there. So that's why it's like that.
So this leaves a lot up in the air for $3.6 million.
I'm not sure if I agree with that assessment. If you want to take approximately out and leave it at 1.75.
Oh, no, I just think that all these studies should be done so the taxpayers know what they're actually getting.
I would say, I mean, I think it's very clear to me in this that the town is getting 1.75 acres until we actually know where those wetlands are. For example, we may go around the wetland or something, and then that wetland becomes part of the land trust or the property. And I think in all process, we're going to be able to build, like we read before, about a facility stored for kayaks, access, roadways, et cetera, much like we discussed before. So I don't think this is anything different than the commitments of 1.75, and that we'll work through those engineering studies as they're developed.
Barbara?
I just want to make one clarification here. The town is getting fee ownership of the entire property. The 1.75 refers to how much of that property will be used to develop Harbor's facilities. So the town is getting the entire property. That's an important, I think it sounds like you think you're only getting 1.75 acres out of the total. You're getting the entire property in fee ownership, 1.75 plus or minus, again, as Mary Ann said, depending on where wetlands are, depending on how it looks once engineering studies are done, will be used for development for Harbor's facilities.
Thank you. I don't think we're really getting anything because we have to go to, I'm not gonna bother. anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
let's-
developable land is set by zoning. And this is saying that the town and the land trust are going to decide where. No, where the developable land is set by zoning. But I think that's what's confusing us.
I'd just like to redirect the tenor of these comments. The town and the land trust, as some might think, are not adversaries here. We're allies in this property. That's paramount. And it'll be worked out between two groups. And I really don't want to keep discussing something that's already been decided.
This hasn't been decided yet. We have to vote on it. Unless you've
You're
decided.
resurrecting the pros and cons of this purchase.
No, I'm not.
You certainly have in your
Well, no, I'm
discussion so
talking about,
far.
this is now the next step in that,
Understood. So
of the
let's
management
stay,
property.
so let's stay on this and not keep resurrecting your dissatisfaction with the decision.
Isn't developable land determined by zoning?
Yes.
Yeah. It's not determined by the land trust and by the town. It's determined by the zoning rules. That's, thank you. I think that's what's muddy in the waters here.
And Jen, in your other role, the developable land is determined by zone, you're right. The intent of this is the developable portion of that property, which is working around wetlands, which is not developable per se. So how do we make sure that there's 1.75 acres of area that can actually be quote unquote developed? And if that wetland's in the, I don't know, the middle of something, then it may be non-contiguous, et cetera. So I think the idea here is not a zoning definition, but is developable portion of that land. But you're right, Martha, it is a zoning decision, but that land is developable and it is as developable lot.
I guess my question is, why is this section even in here? You have a developable lot. If you have a developable portion of the lot, and what's done with it is supposed to be agreed upon by the land trust and the town, what is all the rest of this feels like superfluous language.
I think presumably it's because you want to limit the amount of development beyond what zoning limits are in order to preserve the bulk of it for open space.
Do we know what the developable land is?
I think what we need to do is get it surveyed. We need to get it flagged, and that will determine the developable land as in the definition of the land as it relates to wetlands and things like that. So do we?
The next step.
It'll be the next step, yeah.
Mark, I want to address that you talk about the tone, my tone. And I'm going to, for once and for all, explain where I went off the reservation, as you would probably say it, on this project. And it does go back to the meeting that we had at the mill with Sven and Wendy and myself. That was a discussion, and Marianne wasn't there, it was Barbara and Wendy and myself and Sven. We discussed these issues. Okay, and then we went and we met with Marianne on Monday and discussed the fruits of those discussions. At the end of that discussion, Sven got on the telephone and made a phone call, and I said, "What's your phone call all about?" And he said to me, "I had to call Claire so she could call Mark and tell him what's going on so we could avoid a walking quorum." So I have trust issues with the maneuvering that went on behind the scenes. Okay, this is where I went off the thing. Now, I would like to know who Claire was and why she needs to call you to give you information so we could avoid a walking quorum. Got an answer for that?
Andrea, I don't believe the facts are correct, but
You didn't say that to me. You literally looked me in the eye and said, "I just called Claire so she can call Mark, so she can tell Mark what's going on so we can avoid a walking quorum." You remember that? Well, all right.
So you.
That's where I went off because it's a trust issue. The maneuvering behind the scenes to get what you want. And everybody talks about transparency and whatnot and this and that. So let's be transparent. Who's Claire and why does she have to call Mark to avoid a walking quorum?
I don't remember such detail. Again, I wasn't at that discussion.
I'm sure you know.
But I try to do my homework, and who better if there's an ally out there now that John Brotherhood is no longer here, than talking to someone who was instrumental with so much of what's happened positively in the Great Salt Pond. So I might have had discussions with the previous creator of the Committee for the Great Salt Pond. Sure, that's me doing my homework. But I don't understand this part of it. And it again is resurrecting something that's already been voted on.
Trust issues, Mark. Trust issues. Does anybody else have any comments, questions on the topic? Public? Does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to act on the management plan as presented by the town manager for the overlook property. Oh, sorry, subject to the easement as said by the town manager. Yes.
Second.
All those in favor? Mark?
Aye.
Sven? I'm not in favor. Martha?
I'm not in favor. I don't think we have the right to say what the town plans to do without having been before the electorate.
Keith?
Yes.
The motion will carry 3-2. Next item on the agenda, award bid for up to $50,000 for construction of a wooden walkway along Andy's Way. Marion?
So as I said in my town manager's report, we did go out to bid for the second time for the construction work that is slated to get done on Andy's Way based on a grant we received with DEM and a match from the Great Salt Pond. This time we did receive one bid from Transu Corporation. I am asking that we award the bid to that in the amount of not to exceed $50,000.
Comments from the council?
Great day.
My only comment is I want to be sure the sign doesn't get lost.
Yes.
And Scenic Block Island has done them, actually, no, I'm not sure. Scenic Block Island did the mansion. And I don't know who did the Nicholas Ballpark. But we have two signs that are very much in the same style and manner. And we should probably try to coordinate and have some kind of consistency with town properties and such. And I think it's Margie Cummings is the contact person on the sign at Nicholas Ball.
And just to clarify for every year, it was signs about Andy Starr.
That's
and
the sign
Andy-
about the name,
Right.
why Andy's Way is named Andy's Way.
Agreed.
Yeah, I was stunned to learn how many people had no idea. But it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, yeah. Keith, you good?
Yes.
Comments, public? I will make a motion to award the bid for up to $50,000 for construction of a wooden walkway along Andy's Way to, hold on one second. To Transu Corporation. I think that takes care of it.
Second?
Second. All those in favor? Keith?
Yes.
Martha?
Aye.
I'm in favor. Sven?
Aye.
And Mark.
Hi.
Motion carries 5-0. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, I wanted to vote. I just wanted to know if there'll be any accommodations made for access in the area when the work is being done, so there's basically use your planning for or is the area going to be just completely inaccessible during the work? If so, it'd be great to have enough notice so we can get our last walk in.
Marianne, can you?
It's my understanding that this project will go relatively quickly. Just so the council knows, now that the bid has been awarded, I'm moving the project down to the DPW director and the new facilities director. So I'll let them know to work with folks about access to the area.
So no.
At this point, I can't, I'm leaning towards probably no. But let's work with the contractor and the DPW director and the facilities director and let them make that determination. But I'm thinking no.
I can certainly understand that, but I think it's worth
Yes.
the question.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great
If
question.
it's possible, then great.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, it's my understanding it's supposed to be a relatively quick project.
Thank you.
Great question.
Just keep in touch with Kim. That's, I guess, yeah. All right.
I mean, there are other ways that area can be accessed. And Bain, I don't think Bain's gonna want to be lingering down there.
And we'll show you the secret spots if you don't know them.
She knows the
I don't know. All right.
I'm gonna go to Bunty Shack.
There you go.
Barney's,
Already, thank you.
Bunty was the summer pop.
Next item on the agenda is the receive and act on the commercial shellfish license renewals. Kate, I guess, or Marianne, talking about shellfish, or, oh God, we have George here too. All right, George, you wanna,
Molly, you want to run with this?
Molly?
It's under the clerk's office, commercial license.
It's on the, all right, well, I was getting to you.
Most of these are renewals. We have a fair amount of golden commercial shellfish licenses for you to award tonight. There are some, everybody is eligible, everybody provided their money and copies of their licenses, so I think the motion comes back. Pretty much in order.
All right, I'll make the motion. Do I need three motions? Yeah, I do, right? Motion be in order to grant New Shoreham Golden Commercial Shellfish licenses to Joe Fallon, Charlie Gale, John Grant, Freddie Howarth, Chris Little. Please stop. Chris Littlefield and John Swinton.
Chris Littlefield, eligible for the golden shellfish.
John Grant?
Joe Fallon? Anybody else? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sven. Any discussion on golden shellfishing licenses? All those in favor? Keith?
Yes.
Martha?
Aye.
I'm in favor, Sven and Mark.
Aye.
Motion will carry on the Goldens, 5-0. Motion be in order to grant a New Shoreham commercial shellfish license to George Davis and Peter Hellstrom.
Second.
Seconded by Sven. Any discussion on commercial licenses? Hearing none. All those in favor? Keith?
Yes.
Martha?
Aye.
I'm in favor. Sven?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Motion carries on the commercials, 5-0. Motion made in order to grant a New Shoreham non-resident commercial shellfish license to James Nelson.
Second.
Seconded by Sven. All those in favor? Any discussion on the non-resident? All those in favor, Keith?
Yes.
Martha?
Aye.
I'm in favor.
Aye.
Sven's in favor, and Mark?
Aye.
5-0 on the non-resident. All right. Discuss an act on a special event license application. Oh, sorry, Kate.
Is the only one who's not a golden?
There was one more applicant, Lionel Bauer Butterfield.
Okay, hold on a second. These were renewals, I'm sorry.
Thank you, okay. And that's a new, okay.
Okay,
It was on the first page. but not-
Yeah, she's on it.
But he didn't read it.
He's not old.
yeah, because he's not old.
He didn't
Enough.
say regular. He didn't read his name.
Yeah.
No, I know. It's a resident. I'll just do him. Can I just do him? I'll make a motion to grant a, it's not a golden commercial, it's a resident commercial. I'll make a motion to grant a resident commercial shellfish license to Lionel Butterfield III.
Second.
Seconded by Sven. Discussion. Thank you, Kate. All those in favor, Keith?
Yes.
Martha?
Aye.
I'm in favor, Sven
Aye.
and Mark.
Yeah, it should have been 17.
Motion will carry 5-0. Okay, we good on those? Anything I miss? Kate? Good? Item number 10, discuss an act on a special event license applications, Bethany's Airport Diner. Is anybody here to represent?
This is a special event that didn't make the 30-day deadline to the town clerk's office. The council does this periodically. Bethany's will be selling food during the holiday stroke.
Okay. She's, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Kimberly's, I don't see an application for Kimberly's.
Kimberly's,
Did she make the 30 days? or not?
she has decided to just open up. Originally, she was going to do the same thing, sell food downtown, but she has decided not to do that.
So her name is Tom. Cool, thank you, sorry.
So this is inside, outside? That was a question.
It's my understanding that it is inside the library.
Yeah, it's at the library, but can somebody clarify? I don't mind waiving the $50 application fee. But I'm applying on behalf of a nonprofit and the organization that is on behalf of the nonprofit is a Chamber of Commerce. How does that work? Just an explanation. I'm
Yeah, I think because
questioning it.
there was some confusion in the sense that the Chamber of Commerce was, is somewhat organizing the event.
Shopping stroll.
The shopping stroll, yeah. And I think that's why.
You ever seen that before?
What?
Oh,
Oh, well, the only one, the other one is you, so.
well, no, the chamber.
But is it nonprofit, the library?
No, the chamber's a nonprofit.
Chamber's nonprofit.
Is there something in the ordinance that exempts nonprofits from having to pay that fee?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says so right here too.
Oh, sorry. Don't mind me.
I request a waiver because I'm applying on behalf of a nonprofit.
I don't read that, so.
Like
I will make a motion to grant a special event license to, is it the chamber or is it for the chamber or the Bethany's?
I would make it for Bethany's.
Make it for Bethany's, okay. All right,
Just waiting, it would granting the license and waiving the fee.
Hold on.
I wasn't paying attention.
yeah. All right, so I'll make a motion to approve a special event license to Bethany's Airport Diner to operate at the Island Free Library on Dodge Street from November 27th and 28th from 12 to 5 p.m.
Second.
Right? Seconded by Sven. All those in favor? Keith?
Yes.
Martha?
Aye.
I'm in favor.
Right.
And Sven's in favor, Mark?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. I will further make a motion to, hold on, looking for the wording. Waive the $50 application fee of this application because of it's a nonprofit.
Second.
Seconded by Sven. Comments? All those in favor? Keith?
Yes.
Martha?
Aye.
I'm in favor, Sven
Aye.
and Mark.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Boards, committees and commissions. Just want to announce that we have a 3-year position on the Motor Vehicles for Hire Commission. This individual must not hold a town taxi, bus, or limousine license. There's a 2-year term on the Shellfish Commission, and there's one-year term on the Deer Task Force. The Shellfish Commission is recent. That has to be advertised for 30 days before it can be filled. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's not yet right.
That's right. So we can't appoint anybody for a month on that.
Did we have a resignation we needed to accept, or did we do that already?
You need to accept it.
Yeah, where's that on the agenda though?
That's right, it's right here, announced.
Oh, announce the resignation. Yep, I got it. Hang on 1 second. Let me go down there. Well, hold on a minute.
Let's go right down the line.
I will, do we have to make a motion to that or just accept it?
Make a motion to accept it.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation letter with regret from Ray Boucher from the Shellfish Commission. I'll just read it. This letter is a notice of my resignation from the New Charlotte Shellfish Commission effective immediately.
Second.
Seconded by Sven. All those in favor, Keith, Martha?
Aye.
I'm in favor, Sven,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Unfortunately.
Huh?
Unfortunately.
I know. Molly, can you send him a letter of thanks on behalf of the town council? Thank you. All right, so that's all taken care of. How did we get there for, oh, because it was, all right. Sven, you want to take that sea level rise terms?
Sure. When the Sea Level Rise Committee was initiated, the folks were selected. And the need was for the committee to come back to the town, which the town needs to then certify that the terms going forward are, well, the recommendation from the group, terms going forward are 2-year terms. And there's staggered terms to create staggering in the committee of 3-year terms, which would be Nigel Brindley, Saoirse Cohen, Claire Cummings, George Davis, and Mary Anderson. And then 2-year terms of Sven Reesum, Kim Gaffett, Tag O'Neill, and Judy Gray. And so basically, it's just agreeing on the terms and certifying that these are the 3-year and these are the 2-year folks.
Do we need to take any action on that?
I believe, Molly, we need to approve these terms and positions.
You want to make the motion? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So I make a motion to set the terms for the Sea Level Rise Committee at 2 years. And that the following 5 people will have 3-year terms to establish staggering: Nigel Brindley, Saoirse Cohen, Claire Cummings, George Davis, Mary Anderson. And the following 4 individuals will have 2-year terms: Sven Reesum, Kim Gaffett, Tag O'Neill, and Judy Gray.
Second.
Seconded by Andre.
Discussion, comments? Are you reading? All those in favor, Keith?
Yes.
Martha?
Aye.
I'm in favor. And Sven?
Aye.
Mark?
Hi.
Motion carries 5-0 to ratify the terms. Discuss and act on an appointment to the Deer Task Force. We have a letter from Mary Ann Seebeck.
Well, she has a place that she stays. She has.
Bye, George.
Bye, George.
Thank you.
She, yeah, she's good. She lives here.
Love it.
What's the matter?
Does she?
Does she live here?
She has, I know she rents a room. I knew. She splits her time. Did we get a recommendation from the Deer Task Force on this?
Your task force is eager to have another member in order because they have quorum problems. Quorum problems because 2 of their members.
Oh, so they can't make a recommendation because they don't have a quorum problem, they have quorum issues. Jesus, well,
Are we
that sounds like
prohibited,
a deer problem.
are we prohibited from appointing Mary Ann?
No, not at all.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's strike while
No, Martha doesn't listen to no.
strike while the iron's hot.
Before you straight back here.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to appoint Mary Ann Seebeck to the Deer Task Force.
Second.
Seconded by Sven. The discussion. Chief, I see you're back there. Deer Task Force. How's that going? Oh, no, he's getting up. Oh, no, he's getting up.
No, I've had quorum problems and I think, new members are needed so that we can bring forward what has been discussed in the task force meetings to the council. So
Okay.
Just be sure she can be here.
Is your, when's your next meeting?
did you know?
January, they were aiming for tonight or tomorrow night, but without the member being shortly appointed, they didn't have a quorum, so they're gonna push it off until March.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to, I do have some questions, but I'll wait till you guys meet again. And it was about, the storage and whatnot, and this and that, and what to do, but I'll wait till after your next meeting. You'll probably iron a lot of that out at your next meeting.
Yes. While you're up here, that sheriff best thing is a great idea. Thank you for doing that.
Sure, yeah, it's a great partnership, both with Kim Gaffett and Barbara McMullen.
Place is just Scott.
Mary D.
Just so you know.
It's great, yeah.
More the better, the more the better.
Yeah, so we have great, Kim and Barbara provided the 10 locations. So we'll start setting that up probably early next week. We have signage that we're just waiting on. So
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Motion been made and seconded. Anybody have any comments more out there? All those in favor of the appointment? Keith?
Yes.
Martha? I'm in favor. Sven? And Mark?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mary Ann Seebeck. We have correspondence from Chris Warfel of November 4th regarding sustainability, a RIAC email from the Block Island State Airport aircraft ramp, parking ramp rehabilitation project. Those are in the packet and on clerk base. Anybody like to read them? Item number 13 is receive and act on the 2022 Town Council meeting schedule. Does anybody have any problems with this right now? Because I know I always have problems with them when they come up, but. Martha.
The only question I have is Tuesday, July 5th at 7 PM. That just is a,
July 4th, the Monday is the holiday.
yeah, I mean, I wasn't suggesting we meet on July 4th. I'm just curious about what those first few days of that week are going to be like.
Do what? I'm sorry, what was your question?
Just the 5th of July. I mean, that's fine.
What did we do, this year? Oh, we were on Zoom. I think.
Yeah.
I don't even remember when we came back in the building. It's like Zoom never existed,
I wish I could feel that way.
except that pile of paper that's on the chair.
I didn't have conflicts with any of the dates.
July 5th, okay?
Yep.
Not gonna be hungover, anybody? You too old for that? All right. Do we need a motion to accept these or? Make a motion to accept the town council meeting schedule for 2022.
Second?
Seconded by Sven. All those in favor, Keith
Yes.
and Martha?
Aye.
I'm in favor, Sven
Yep.
and Mark.
Aye.
Motion will carry 5-0. Minutes, November 1st and November 3rd and 4th. We're gonna hold off on November 1st. And hold on one second, November 3rd and 4th. Does anybody have any questions on any of these minutes or you all happy with them or? I know the November 4th was the liquor. And
So we're only going on 3rd and 4th, correct?
yeah, the 3rd and 4th. Do you have the first?
No.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of November 3rd and November 4th.
Second?
Motion been made seconded. Discussion? No changes, comments, concerns?
The only thing about the SNAP benefits, you have any progress there?
No, but I am going to reach out. Yes.
Do we want to include that?
Thank you.
To the board, I was just wondering, because really what I was asking is whether there was a willingness by Mary Jane to work with us on it. I think she said yes.
Well, she
Just-
said
just
she'd meet.
To
and
see what the obstacles are and to see whether.
I just like to have it in the minutes that Mary Jane Balzer and Kistover agreed to meet on this. So it doesn't come like, oh, who really will meet?
Oh, do you want to amend the agenda? Amend the minutes?
It was said, Mr. Stowe, Ms. Balzer agree, she wanted to agree to have her team meet with Mr. Stover. She needed her interpreter.
Okay, motion to amend the meeting, minutes from November 4th to include.
Ms. Balzer agreed to have her team meet with Mr. Stover. On the item.
It's, unbeknownst to me, I also had called her, before the meeting also, and we agreed to set up a meeting, and, she asked that Shirley join, so. Yeah,
Yeah, because you weren't at
I was at the work section, that's why when you said about body language, I'm like, wait a minute, and that now it finally clicked, I wasn't at the meeting, so. If it's okay with the council, I think we just should do one meeting with them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This one's gonna fall off.
It's you guys, both of you.
It's
not
Martha. Martha's the problem.
Both of you. Yes, all those in favor of the amended November 4th? Keith,
Yes.
Martha,
Aye.
I'm in favor. Sven and Mark.
Aye.
That motion will carry 5-0 on the agendas. I just wanted to let you know that the lady who operates the general store, the Helen General Store, read that paper and said that she's getting rid of her stuff, so no one uses it. But I don't think she carries enough stuff that, right, yeah, that might be the thing.
You know, honestly, I don't know.
I know. I know.
Yeah, sorry.
Item number 15, town manager job performance. This may be held in closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42465A1, any discussion of the job performance, character, or physical or mental of a person or persons provided that said person or persons offended shall be notified in advance of writing. And advised that they may require that discussion be held at an open meeting. Mary Ann? I think we're going to close.
That's correct.
Yeah, we want to close, so we're on close, so I'll make a motion to go into closed session to discuss the town manager. Second by Sven. All in favor, Pete? Yes. Martha?
Aye.
And all in favor? Sven, in favor? Mark?
Aye.
Motion will carry 5-0. Report. After the meeting with the closed session, we will do something. Thank you. Oh, yeah, right. Keith says the minutes. Thank you, chief. Thank you.
Good night.
You want to take minutes?
No. I took my turn.
Keith's gonna take minutes.
Were they acceptable when I sent them to you?
Great.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn off this computer, I'm gonna turn off the sound, and the meeting's being broadcast from the other room, and the agenda up on that computer. When you come back into open session, somebody should,
Let's go next door.
yeah, that's gonna.
I mean, I'm just.
Yeah.
You want next door, Eddie? I want to still hear what's. Please take it outside. You gotta learn when you volunteer for